Welcome everyone to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. Welcome to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. Had a little technical difficulty last time out. Had a little technical difficulties, but fought through it. You know, like we fighters around here, we fought through that thing and we worked it out, figured out what the situation was and what happened. Um, Actually, one of the cores that came out, and when one of those cores came out, it disconnected my feed to what you all were seeing. So I want to get back up and get this thing back up and running again, and just see how you all feel about what we're talking about. And what we're talking about is, how do you forgive? How do you forgive? And if you forgive, do you actually forget, or is it just something that you hold on to? I was talking to you a little bit earlier before we got disconnected, and I was asking you the question: if somebody do something to you, and you say, okay, they come to you, they apologize, or however it play itself out, and you say, okay, I forgive you, but do you forget it? Do you forget it and throw it away, and you to move on from where it fell off at? Is that something that you do, or do you hold on to it a little bit too long? Hold on to it, and then when something else come about, when that person do something similar or almost the same as what it was that they did the first time, or maybe even something different, maybe they do something different, and you say, oh yeah, you the same one that did that this here to me the last time. I remember what you did to me. I remember what you did the last time. No, this ain't the same thing, but you did something. You crossed me before. That's the terminology that sometimes you crossed me before. You remember 10 years ago when you did this? Listen to me. 10 years ago when you did this, that person may have thought, we moved past that. That's 10 years ago. You still holding on to something I did 10 years ago? Well, do you remember when you blah, blah, blah? And now it becomes a situation where you're going back and forth. You did this, you did this. Your thing was greater than mine. Now yours was greater than mine. You did this. All that foolishness because you holding on to it. You say, I forgive you. You accept the apology. You say, I forgive you. You shake hands. As boys, you shake hands. Ladies, you hug or whatever, vice versa, however you do it. And you move on. A year go by, nothing. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. 2 years go by, everything is gravy. Like I threw that gravy in there. And then maybe 4 or 5 years into your friendship, your relationship, or whatever it is, something else happens. And now you're going back in your mind and you're picking up stuff. You're going back in your mind and you're picking up stuff. You're picking up stuff. Okay, you did this, you did this, you did this. You're picking up stuff out of your mind and you're putting it on the table. I thought you forgive me. You said you forgive me. Oh, you forgive me, but you don't forget. So you're just holding on to that for a moment just like this. So you can have an opportunity to throw it right back at me. When you said you forgive me, I'm so silly. I thought you did. We've been friends all this time. I thought you forgave me. Evidently you didn't. Evidently you didn't. I just like I told you, I got this video. I want to play this video for you all as well. I'm gonna go back and play the video. Actually, the one I played the last time, I'm going to replay that one again. And hopefully, it'll play out for us this time. But this young man, I don't know his name. I'll meet him one day real soon. Don't know his name, but he put some real nice videos out there, and I like the message that I don't always agree with everything that he say. And I'm sure that as you're listening, you're not going to probably agree with everything, or maybe you might agree with everything that he says. But take a listen and tell me what you think about what he's talking about in this particular video. I'm going to play it for you, and you let me know what you think, okay? Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the beat. So before we answer the question, how do we forgive, I want to quickly suggest what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness does not mean the absence of pain. In other words, just because you forgive somebody does not mean that you will not experience or at times feel the pain of what they did to you. Second of all, forgiveness is not reconciliation. When God says forgive, he doesn't say that you have to get back into a relationship with this person and give them more opportunities to hurt you. No, forgiveness simply means to let go of the anger and the thoughts of revenge and bitterness that you're holding on to. Okay, so let's dive in. 4 practical steps on how we can forgive those who have hurt us. And the first is to trust God to deal with it. Forgiveness is actually an act of faith. Romans 12:17 says, vengeance is mine, I will repay, thus says the Lord. Whenever we hold on to anger and bitterness and thoughts and plans of revenge, what we're basically saying is, God, I don't trust you to deal with this person. I don't trust that you have really seen what has happened to me, and so that I must take matters into my own hands and make sure that this person gets what they deserve. And so forgiveness is relinquishing your control and truly giving it over to God and trusting him to deal with it. Step number 2, clearly communicate your pain to the person who has hurt you. And this is going to have 3 benefits. First of all, it releases you of carrying around this heavy burden that's been weighing you down. Second of all, it can help the other person not commit the same offense to somebody else, because the truth of the matter is they may not even realize how deeply they hurt you in the first place, because oftentimes they've moved on with their life. Finally, it can open up the door for reconciliation, which is what God wants in the first place. The third step is probably the most difficult for most of us, and that is to pray for them. Matthew 5:44 says to love your enemies and to pray for those who persecute you. If you can get to the point where you are praying for somebody who's hurt you deeply, you have gotten to the point where you truly, sincerely wish the best for this person, and you're no longer wishing evil upon them. And so when God chooses to bless them, you're celebrating what God is doing in their life instead of hating on them. So remember, trust God to deal with the people who have hurt you deeply, clearly communicate your pain to the person who's hurt you, pray for them, as difficult as it may be, and finally, stop talking negatively about them. This is one of the easiest ways for you to tell that you have not yet forgiven somebody. Because let's be honest, whenever we are angry and we feel like somebody has offended us, we want everyone we know and everyone they know to know how deeply they've hurt us. And oftentimes what we end up doing is we end up defaming this person's character without them being present to defend themselves. James 4:11 says, do not speak negatively or speak evil against one another. And there are all sorts of other scriptures that support the idea that slander is a sin. So if you want to forgive somebody, as difficult as it is, resist the temptation to speak negatively about this person. Now, I know that forgiveness is not easy, but understand that when we don't forgive, we're really only hurting ourselves. I heard a great quote that says that unforgiveness is like drinking a poison and yet expecting someone else to die. In other words, this person has already hurt you, and yet you're continuing to allow them to hurt you by giving them control over your own happiness, your own joy, and your own peace of mind. Remember that forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you.
Wow, that's good. That's good. What did you all think about that? And how do you deal with the part where he says, how do you deal with the part where he say, or he said, pray for the very one that has disrespected you, treated you bad, or whatever it is? How do you feel about it when he say pray for that person? How hard is that for you to pray for somebody that you think has crossed you? Is it real difficult? Can you do it? Have you done it before? Are you, in the midst of your prayers, maybe your prayer before you go to bed at night, before you lay down on that pillow, you reflect on what happened throughout the course of that day. Then you remember, hold on, Johnny, I remember what you did to me, boy. Sarah, you did me wrong. But in the midst of your prayers, can you pray for Johnny? Can you say a prayer for Sarah? Or will you just say your prayers and selfishly just go to sleep? not praying for them at all. That's it's tough. And if anybody were to sit and tell you, even myself included, were to sit here and tell you that it's easy, they'll be telling you something that's not true. It takes a lot to get to the point where you can actually pray for somebody that you feel has done you wrong. Do you want to forgive them? That's another part of what he talked about. Forgiveness. Um, do you really want to? Do you want to reconcile with that person? That's the fancy word he used, reconcile. Do you want to reconcile with that person? Do you really want to? I mean, you may say it. You might tell some people that you do, but do you really? Sincerely, sincerely. That's do you really sincerely want to reconcile with this person? Um, Somebody text me. I don't have the phone lines open right now. I didn't open up the phone lines for this. Probably next time I do it, I open up the phone line so you can actually call in. But I didn't open them up this time. If anybody want to be a part of going forward, anybody want to be a part of the Raheen Ashimi show, send me send me a note. Let me know. Text me or call me. You got my number. Call me or text me, inbox me or whatever, and let me know. And I'll make sure I send a link to you so you can come on. We're open for all of you are welcome. Whether you agree with what I say, if you don't, honestly speaking, I'd rather if you didn't agree with what I'm saying, so we can have we can bounce off each other and have a conversation, a dialogue, and hopefully at the end of that dialogue, we will come together and find a place of peace. Now, I did not say agree. I said find a place of peace. There's a difference. I got another clip I want to play for you. I'm gonna play this clip. This young lady right here. She's actually talking about how to forgive when you can't forget. How do you forgive when you can't forget? Let me see what she's talking about, and we'll continue this and we'll wrap this up. I said I wasn't gonna be here with you long. We'll wrap this up after she say what she's going to say. We'll have a little dialogue about it, and then we'll get on out of here. All right. Hope your Sunday is well. My Pittsburgh Steelers are playing tonight, so I definitely got to get home and get everything laid out for my Steelers. Good game. Looking forward to watching my boys do what they're gonna do. Sidetrack a little bit, but look, let's take a look at this particular video right here and see what this young lady is talking about. You all, I'm enjoying this. I hope you all are as well.
Lindsay, this is a fantastic question. Forgiveness is an important topic and it's a vital spiritual and emotional practice. As Nelson Mandela once said, resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. Now, I personally get my inspiration from others who demonstrate forgiveness in incredible ways. So I think about that guy, Louis Zamperini, the Olympic runner. I personally get my inspiration unbroken. He forgave the prison guard who brutally tortured him for years. And of course, I also think about the families of those who were killed in the horrific shooting in Charleston, who also forgave the person who murdered their loved ones. That's like forgiveness hall of fame. Now, thankfully, Lindsay, I don't think your situation is quite as extreme, but still, you feel hurt and you feel betrayed. And you're right when you say that not forgiving someone, no matter what they did, will hold you back from being all you're meant to be. Here's the big distinction I want you to get. Forgiving someone doesn't mean that you instantly or ever trust someone again. Forgiveness and trust are separate issues. When you forgive someone, it doesn't mean that you condone their behavior, and it doesn't mean that you're going to tolerate any further abuse or lack of respect. Frankly, even if you fully forgive someone, you do not have to keep that person in your life. Now, Lindsay, you've already said that your gut is telling you that you can't trust this person, and I think it's wise to pay attention to that. Now, if you do choose to keep this person in your life, they're going to need to rebuild that trust with you, and that's likely going to take some time. Now, more importantly, though,
realize that forgiveness is not something that you do for the person who wronged you. It's something you do for you. Want a little etymology? The Latin root means to give completely without reservation. So think of it this way. When you forgive, you're giving a gift to yourself, a gift of freedom, mental, emotional, and spiritual freedom. Here's 2 steps to help you do it. Step number 1 in this process is forgive yourself, especially if you're having any thoughts like, oh my goodness, how could I have been so stupid? How could I have been so naive? You got to realize that this situation, like every situation, is an opportunity to strengthen your soul. You know, every time that I've been burned, after I get over that initial anger and hurt, I always ask myself, what can I learn from this? And how can I grow from this? And when I ask those wise questions, what comes back are usually some really wise answers. Step number 2 is to forgive the person. Now, I know that this is easier said than done, and there are many, many different approaches to forgiveness. There's a spiritual approach, there's a faith-based, there's a psychological approach, and what I've seen to be the most important step in all of those approaches is willingness. You being willing. That slight little shift in energy from, can't do it, to, you know what, I don't know how, but I'm willing to forgive, can radically change everything. And a simple little prayer or a mantra that you might want to practice saying to yourself is this: while I don't know how, I am willing to forgive. Please, God, the universe, Smurf fairies, whatever language suits you, show me the way. Because that simple willingness is often all it takes to melt the walls around your heart and begin to truly forgive. Now, before we wrap up, there's just one more thing that I want to say about forgiveness, and yes, it's a tweak. Forgiveness isn't a weakness. It's the ultimate sign of courage and strength. That was my 80-year Q, Lindsay, and I really do hope it helps. Now, I would love to hear from you. Have you ever wrestled with forgiving someone or building trust after it's been broken? In terms of forgiving and forgetting, what's worked for you and what hasn't? Now, as always, the richest discussions happen after the episode over at RaheenOrleo.com, and we have a lot of fun in the comments.
Good deal. Good deal. She put a lot of information out there, a lot of good information out there that hopefully will help you. And she asked the question, have you ever really struggled? Have you ever really struggled with forgiving someone? Is that something that you find difficult? Have you ever been in a situation whereas you wanted someone to forgive you, and you did so much? You did so much because you really felt bad. You really didn't want it to happen. Whatever happened, you didn't want it to happen, but it did. How did you get to a point or a place where you can actually get that person to forgive you? Or did you? Or did it even matter at all? After a point in time, did it matter whether they forgive you or not? Did you, quote unquote, get over it? Or did you, quote unquote, tell them to get over it? It's over, it's done. I can't go back and change it. It's done. Forgive me or not, I got to move on with my life. I can't sit here and cater to you every time you want me to cater to you because I made a mistake. Yes, I made a mistake. Forget about the mistake. Let's move on. How insensitive is that? That's very insensitive, because now you're telling somebody how to feel. You don't want nobody to tell you how to feel, so you don't have the right to tell anybody how to feel. They feel the way they feel. Their hurt may be different from yours. You can't tell them to get over it. I'm done with it. Okay, you're done with it. Move on with your life, but leave them alone. They're not done with it. Let them go through the process that they have to go through to get over it. Hopefully one day they will. Hopefully one day they will. But it's not for you to make that determination for them. It's not for you. That's not your job. That's not, like Minister Neal said, your assignment to make sure that you get them past over that hurdle, if you will. Nah, leave them alone. You already did enough. You hurt them. Leave them alone. How about that? Listen, I'm about to get out of here for today. Just being a little comical with you all, but seriously. But the serious thing about it, but the truth of the matter is, you really don't have the right to tell anybody to get over anything. If you hurt somebody, do all you can do to help them heal, to help men the pain that they had. Do everything you can do to mend that pain, but at the same time, don't be insensitive. Please don't be insensitive, because remember, you did it. You did it. Ask for forgiveness. Prayerfully, they will forgive you. But if for whatever reason they decide that they don't want to, do what you got to do to make it right. Make it right. Make it right. All right. About to get out of here for today. Love you all. You all have a great day. You've been listening to the Raheen Ashimi Show. It is now what, 2:12. 2:12. You're about to exit the Raheen Ashimi Show. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. I love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some of this light on you from the Raheen Ashimi Show. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. You'll have a great day. Love you. Take an opportunity, if you can, and love someone else. You just might find some love in return. Y'all have a great one. Take care.